Hey guys, Drakodan with LegendsInOurFreeTime here. I know it's been a while, but I'm here presenting a new chess video for you, and I know what some people have wanted to see for a while is a game that I actually lost, and this is it right here for you now. And I would like to say that it was like against just a really powerful player that crushed me completely no matter what I tried to do, but this is actually against Jughead, and it's because of a serious mistake I made. So, the lesson that I would like you to take from this game is what not to do in a winning position, how to completely throw away a game. You'll see how it goes as we proceed. He starts with e4, and I respond with c5, so this is the Sicilian defense, tried and tested method against e4, and it's generally the best thing to do, but with a lot of ways that it can go and a lot of variations that it can go. He plays d3 backing up. I would possibly get a knight out or something, but that works as well, I suppose. d6, so kind of symmetrical if you look at it, but d6 is a good move to back up my pawn. b3 preparing to fianchetto a bishop, obviously, puts the bishop on b2. I would call that inaccurate, possibly. I would start developing minor pieces, but I can't really complain since I do the exact same thing with g6. Trying to get my bishop on that long diagonal, and then with the position as it is, it's really threatening his rook if he doesn't do anything about it. So he brings knight out to c3, I bring bishop to g7, like I was talking about, it's on that long diagonal, it's threatening that knight, he needs to do something about it. Naturally, you play bishop b2, so I can't really complain about that, and it certainly seems to be sound at the minute. I play out b5 here. Looking back, I'm not entirely sure why I played this. I mean, I know I'm planning to push forward and kick off the knight, because I'm like, okay, if I just keep pushing forward, his knight's got to move or he's just going to lose it. So he backs it up with queen d2. That's certainly not too objectionable. I bring my bishop out to b7. You could argue that there are better squares for it, but I just wanted to develop it at all, and it's currently aiming at the center, which down the line couldn't be too bad, but you will see later in the game we do go into a more of a queenside focused game, because he castles queenside, and I think, alright, there's got to be ways that I can exploit this. The A file is pretty weak in terms of how he can defend it, and there must be ways that I can crack it open with a concentrated attack. So I just try to increase my central pressure here with knight f6. I mean, I'm talking about doing the whole pressure with focusing on the queen side, but that's no reason to not try and gain a general positional advantage. Plus, if I make him concentrate on defending and attacking the centre more, that just further weakens his queen side, so that can't be too bad. Knight f3, perfectly natural, just bringing them out. And knight b d7, so that my knights are connected, and I'm not playing it out to c6 because that would just be getting in the way of my bishop. So I don't want to try and make any mistakes insofar as how my position is. And it's here that I realise I really should have backed up that pawn on b6 at some point, because he just snaps it up for free, and I was like, yeah, I should have really seen that. And the best I can do now is, you might think I can just threaten it with a6 and force it to move off, but I actually go straight past it with a5 because I'm thinking I want to start pushing. I want to break open this a file, because his knight snaffling up that free pawn there, yeah, sure, he can have as much free material as he wants, but if I really get on with my plan, there may be nothing that he can do about it if he doesn't respond to it accurately, so I just go and see how that goes. He plays g3, freeing up squares for his other bishop. Like I say, I just keep pushing with a4. He pushes with h4, so he's pushing his own flank attack on the king's side, but I personally think he should have responded to this a bit earlier, since A captures b3, A captures b3 again, and I castle. I'm not entirely sure in retrospect how sound this is, and well, you'll see that down the line this actually probably loses me the game. This isn't the blunder. I mean, castling is good, generally, increasing your king's safety, but I might be wasting a tempo here in that I could have used this opportunity to just keep attacking, so we will just have to see. He plays rook e1, centralising a rook, and he's generally putting a lot of pressure on that central pawn he has, but you'll see as well that I am pretty much denying any chance of having any sort of play on the d5 square where his central pawn is targeting, because I've got a knight pointed there, I've got a bishop pointed there. He can't push his central pawn too safely because I've got my pawn stationed to defend that square. So I'm really sort of squeezing what he has to work with, and as is shown here with rook a2, I'm coming straight in and threatening to really mop up the position here if he's not careful, which he defends fairly well here, I've got to say, with knight c3. But once I retreat back to knight a5, his queen doesn't have any space to work with. I mean, his queen had the diagonal to come onto the a file there, but it's completely blocked in by the knight now, so I'm not particularly bothered about that. Bishop comes up to h3, eyeing down that knight that's on d7, but I remedy that fairly well with e6, since I'm putting more pressure on that d5 square and I'm blocking off the way that the bishop can come in. So it's really looking as though for a lot of the moves that he can make, there's just not a lot of options for him at this point, and I was trying to at this point employ a prophylactic style and really squeeze the space that he has to work with whilst I develop my plan and make it so that eventually there's no way that he can safely respond. He guards nicely with a4 because, like I say, the open a file is a massive threat that I have, but this temporarily diffuses it quite safely. I challenged that with bishop c6, and he chooses to ignore the threat, pushing his own king side with g4. It's not really enough though. Bishop captures a4, and which I really don't mind about him reclaiming, because I can capture again with rook a4, and you may see here, now that he's lost the knight, it's beginning to look very scary. There's a potential, if this position doesn't change, there's a potential really easy mate for me here in bringing the queen over to a8, and then I think by that point, pretty much no matter what he does, there's just the threat of rook a1 check, bishop has to recapture, and then when the queen captures on a1, that's mate. And that's what I was initially going for, but I don't even know how I fucked this up so badly. g5, and so I'm thinking, okay, yeah, he's threatening the knight, but at this point, I really don't care. He can have the knight. I'm just going to, like I say, continue my plan of queen over to a8. If he captures the knight, then, like I say, rook a1, bishop a1, queen a1 mate, so I really don't care about that kingside threat. But I would find a way to absolutely ruin this, wouldn't I? Queen to c3, backing up what the bishop, backing up how he can keep his king safe, because not only does it give his king an escape square, but it also solidifies that a1 square. Like I say, if my rook goes now to a1, bishop captures, and then my queen can't capture because obviously his queen is guarding that square, so there's not a lot I can really do with that. And I've got to ask, is there anything that you would particularly do in this position? I mean, there's some things that you can play around with here, I suppose. The one thing that you absolutely shouldn't I've done though is what I do here. Knight captures e4, and when I made the move, I completely missed the fact that I've left a crippling weakness in my position, and I thought I was just threatening his queen and like, okay, where's your queen going to move now? And then you're just weakening the queen side so I can come in again. But it should be fairly evident how I've left a huge weakness here, and I'm pretty sure you can find it. I'm not even saying, oh, pause and find it, because by the time I've moved on in this commentary, you probably will have found it, since it's just crippling. Queen comes in, captures g7, mate. I saw that pretty much the second that I finished making my move, and I was like, wait, no, that can't be right. And then I was like, oh god, no, it is right. I've completely thrown this game away. Because of the queen being on the same diagonal as the bishop, I cannot recapture with the king, so there's absolutely nothing I can do. And we both laughed pretty hard about that. Him in hysterics, me in shame. There's just nothing else can be said about that. Completely big screw up from me, and like I say, that's an example of something not to do in a winning position. Overlooking a positional weakness and putting yourself in a mate in one situation. Take it from me, guys. Do not do that.